Welcome to the Steelers Talk Mailbag. I'm your host, Jack Sperry, and I love doing these mailbags every single week with you guys because I get to hear from you what you guys want me to talk about, and I really get to connect with you guys and give you guys a voice here on Steelers Talk. So smash that subscribe button right now if you haven't already to join the most interactive Steelers YouTube community here on the platform. We got over 52,000 Yinzers already subscribed to the channel. We have weekly live shows 2 times a week. We have Paul Skeen's watch parties once a week now. So we have a bunch of great live opportunities where you can come and just interact with other Steelers fans like yourselves that love the black and gold. And then also you get an opportunity to get your question on these mailbags every single Friday at 4:30 p.m. Eastern Time. Then we got one for here coming in from Mike Kramer, who says, if we don't make a trade for a wide receiver 2, do you think Roman Wilson could be a legitimate wide receiver 2? I mean, you're kind of rolling the dice a little bit there, Mike. You are, because he's a rookie, and you just don't know. And he is a little bit smaller, so is he going to be able to handle, kind of the more physical brand of football down the field? Those questions need to be answered. But in terms of skill set, I think absolutely. He's got a great skill set in terms of really secure hands. He makes catches with his hands, not his body, which is a really good sign of somebody that can make really acrobatic catches. He can jump really high in the air, so he can make those contested catches down the field as well, potentially. And he's super fast, so he's going to be able to kill people from the slot on those slot crossing routes that we know Arthur Smith loves to run. So listen, I think Roman is going to be the future wide receiver 2 of this team for sure. But when it comes to this year, it's going to come down to how well does Roman acclimate himself and how quickly he does that. Then we got one from Omar's Burner here who says, too many people don't understand how much on and off the field Cam brings to the table. Cam does so much for the city and endorses the Steelers for free agency. I mean, I really like Cam as well, man. I think they're going to get a deal done. He's the lifeblood of this locker room. He's the heart, and he's really the heartbeat of this team. Will they get a deal done before training camp? I really hope so. Mark Kaboly of The Athletic says that he expects it to get done before then. And I think it's going to be, and I hope it's more team-friendly than some people are expecting because he is getting older, and I know he wants to put a ring on that finger. Then we got one from Darren Asmussen. I hope I'm saying that right. It says, is there any possibility that the Browns would trade Amari Cooper to the Steelers after he sat out mandatory minicamp? I would say probably no. Probably no, just because it's within the division. It's the same deal with T. Higgins, right? There's just no reason for the Browns, who obviously hate our guts, to give us a legit number 1 receiver in Amari Cooper, who is a number 1. He'd be probably number 2 to George Pickens here, but I mean, he is an awesome receiver. They'd probably want at least a first-round pick for him if they're going to send him to an AFC North rival. I don't think the Steelers are going to be willing to give him that. Now, what say you guys? Let me know. Would you trade a round 1 pick for Amari Cooper, type A for accept, or type D for decline? This is going to be the pinned comment on today's show. So YouTube's going to throw you an ad break here in just a couple of seconds. When that happens, take advantage of that time by answering today's pinned question. Going from my man Trey Roberson says, who do you think will have the best year 2 leap on the team? So in terms of from year 1 to year 2, I think probably the biggest leap will be Keanu Benton because he's going to get on the field more often. I think he's even better than he was last year, and he was awesome last year. So I think Keanu Benton, the Steelers are talking about him like he is going to be like the next star defensive tackle in football. He's just going to wreck the league this year. I 100% believe them. I mean, they just speak with so much conviction about how well he's going to be playing this year that I just have to believe them. I think Keanu Benton is going to wreck the league this year. Then we got one from Hot Rod 24. $2 super chat says, question for Joey. Who is your favorite NFL player? Producer Joey, this one's for you.
If I have to pick all time, I'm going Tony Romo. I know it's probably not a popular pick here, but I grew up in Dallas. He was my quarterback growing up. I got to meet him in person a couple summers ago. Really nice guy. I got to go Tony for all time. But if I'm talking now, I love me some CeeDee Lamb, man.
All right, Producer Joe, you got his question. You got his answer there. So let's get to the next question here from Limesy, who says, what move is necessary for the Steelers to win the Super Bowl? So honestly, with the way the roster is currently constructed, I think it's possible to win a Super Bowl. But obviously, the thing I think that would probably help them out the most in that mission would be to get another really good receiver, somebody that's established, somebody that could be a legit number 2 weapon to start the season. Somebody like a Cortland Sutton, even though it looks like Denver's not trading. Somebody like a Brandon Aiyuk, or a Deebo Samuel, even though the Niners look like they're not going to trade him, or a DK Metcalf or Tyler Lockett, but it looks like Seattle's not going to deal either of those guys either. So obviously, if I could make something happen right now, I'd go out and get a wide number 2 receiver. But in terms of the best options out there that are realistic, I'd probably say Michael Thomas might be the most realistic option in free agency. Now, make sure you guys click that subscribe button if you haven't already. We got daily Steelers videos right here on the channel every single day. We got 2 to 3 live shows every single week as well, where we have these mailbags on Fridays. Breaking news coverage, so if the Steelers make a trade for a receiver, or if they sign Michael Thomas, or if they do anything of that sort, we're going to be going live, or at least get you guys a breaking news video out there. And it's all 100% free. 100% free of charge for the best damn Steelers coverage here on YouTube. Then we got one from Dominic, who says, do you think a DK trade happens soon? I just read a little bit ago that DK will be the moving target this season. What does that mean to you? So I think this comes from NFL Rumors. I'm not sure where Rumors got this, report, or if he has some sort of connection. But Mike McDonald, their new head coach there in Seattle today, was talking about how excited he is to use DK Metcalf in that offense this year. So I just don't see them trading him. He's a unique talent. He's huge. He's fast. He's a great downfield threat, and he's only 26, right? You just don't give up receivers like that, even for cap relief. If they want cap relief, they'd get rid of Tyler Lockett, not DK Metcalf, at least in my opinion. Then you got one from Ant Dollar Sign here. He says, where do you rank the Steelers in the AFC North right now? So definitely not last. The Browns are last because they got the worst quarterback, in my opinion. But, I think it's really close between Cincinnati, Baltimore, and the Steelers. And then when you take into account the Steelers just take the Ravens' lunch money every single year, I think that that's something where they're going to be able to get a sweep against them this year, even though they have a really good football team. And then Cincy, I think that their defense got worse this year. So, call me crazy. I'm going to say the Steelers' best team in the AFC North. Let me on from Benny Boy. 0606 says, if Mike Tomlin is such a great coach, why doesn't he have a coaching tree like other great coaches in the league? So listen, you could say the same thing about Bill Belichick, right? You could say the same thing about Belichick. He's the greatest coach of all time, and everybody that got hired from his tree was pretty much a failure. Why? Because not everybody is Bill Belichick, okay? It's not really a replicable thing, With Mike Tomlin, he's one of the most charismatic people on the planet. Okay, that's not something that just anybody can learn. Okay, that's something that's a gift. That's something that comes innate within his nature. It's who he is. And, it's not like a scheme where like Andy Reid or Sean McVay or Kyle Shanahan can pass off their scheme to somebody else and translate it somewhere else. It's not like Mike Tomlin can teach somebody else how to be a charismatic leader that can command an NFL locker room, right? And that's his bread and butter. That's where his greatness lies. Now, Mike is a great defensive mind as well. He's proven that with the amount of great defenses he's had. But in terms of his ability to control a locker room, that's what makes him great. And there just hasn't been many of those, crazy, charismatic people that have been here as assistants in Pittsburgh. Bruce Arians was an assistant here, though. He ended up winning a Super Bowl as a head coach. So in terms of the Tomlin tree versus the Belichick tree, I think you could make an argument that Tomlin's tree has been more successful. Now, fill in the blank for me. Down there in the comments section, Mike Tomlin is a top blank coach in the NFL right now. Is he top 5, top 10, top 1? Let me know down there in the comments section. Got one here from Anthony. Says, if the Steelers don't keep Najee, do you think they will keep Warren or find someone better? It's going to be interesting to see for sure. I think they want to keep him, but they don't want to pay him a huge contract. And I think Najee wants a huge contract. So I think it's going towards the Steelers paying Warren, not Najee. But it's going to depend on which guy plays better this year. They're going to pay one of them. They're not going to pay both. It's going to come down to this season and who plays better. I guess we'll see who comes out on the top of the pile. Then we go on from Seth Orty. He says, if Brandon Aiyuk is still getting traded to the Steelers, I highly doubt it. In my opinion, Seth, he has to straight up demand a trade. He needs to demand a trade from San Francisco in order for that to happen. I don't really see that happening. The 49ers usually wait to the last second to sign these guys to contracts. Look at the Deebo contract 2 years ago. Look at the Nick Bosa contract last year. They both happened extremely late in the offseason. I expect the same thing for Aiyuk this year. Got one from Kevin. Says, instead of losing a lot of draft capital and many on a top receiver, do you think someone like Metchie, I think is who he's going for there, would be on the Steelers' radar? I hope so. Metchie has apparently played great during the offseason. And C.J. Stroud is saying all these great things about him and how great he's looking. In terms of the guys that are available via trade, I think Metchie is one of the better options, but will Houston deal him? I'm not too sure. Okay, guys, that's going to be it for today's show. I really do appreciate everybody that submitted questions today. Make sure you click that subscribe button right now for more Steelers content every single day.